Everybody can see me. Yay. Um, my name is Joey Kramer. For those of you who have never met me or uh, heard about me, I don't know if you followed Liliana for a while, then I'm sure she's said a few nice things about me from time to time. Thank you. But I'm excited to be here today, guys. I want to thank Liliana and Miriam for putting this all together and getting us all here today so we can activate and transform our lives in ways that are unimaginable. What we're going to do today is we're going to actually talk about jumping timelines and unlocking a new consciousness for you. Whether you're new to this or if you've been practicing doing this and you're on your own journey of transformation, you're in the right place today. I'm going to be talking for about a half hour or so, and we're going to explore some different concepts about the quantum and jumping timelines. And then we're going to dive into a process I developed called CFL Healing, which stands for compassion, forgiveness, and love. And I've discovered that these three frequencies, they literally, when you harness them correctly together, they shift your reality and they'll change your lives in literally unimaginable ways. Like Liliana said, this is what we teach today, and what we talk about today is not theory. It's literally from our own experience and what we have gone through over the course of our lives here. And so what's this workshop going to be all about? I want you to picture and realize that there are infinite realities existing simultaneously as we speak. There's countless versions of you and countless versions of your life unfolding all at once on all different spectrums. And every choice that you've ever made in your life, whether it's what you chose to eat for breakfast, which routes you chose to go to work, big, little, it doesn't matter. But every choice, every thought you've ever made has brought you to this exact moment on this exact timeline. So if we understand that we're all just, that there's infinite versions of our timeline, then we got to ask ourselves, is it possible to tune in to these alternate realities? They're existing everywhere. We just can't see them. We don't know how to access that new reality that we want to get into. So what CFL Healing actually does is it allows these frequencies to open up and to harness that power, and it's not, like I said, none of this is theory. This is actual scientific principles. They've been validated, they're practical, they're actionable, and they're all deeply personal. This is a personal journey. This isn't cookie cutter for everybody, the same thing. This is, each one of us has our own way of activating this timeline jump within us. So as we go through today, my promise to you and everybody is by the end of this workshop, you're going to walk away with a new perspective of your consciousness, how it works, and how it shapes your world around you. You're also going to get some practical insights to either start your journey or further advance where you're already headed. I'll break it down into three different parts. I'm going to share my journey first and my story of what I experienced when I actually rewrote my DNA and changed my entire life forever. Then we're going to go into and break down the principles of how I did it, and using the quantum and using CFL Healing. And then at the very end, we're going to do about a 9-minute meditation that I developed that's going to allow you to harness and receive the frequency of love, because at the end of the day, everything starts from that frequency. Everything starts from that feeling of love. So before we get going and I talk about how it's done, I want to go over my story and share with you how I came to be where I'm at today. Like Liliana said, my name's Joey Kramer. I'm the founder of the Reality Practice Network. And Liliana and I have been working together on and off for the last 4 years. And together, we've both built some amazing communities that are designed to help people like all of you to transform your lives using the power of the quantum. But, I didn't start out that way. I didn't have all the answers. Back in 2020, I was stuck. I was literally at rock bottom. For 2, 3 years prior to that, I'd been going through all the motions, all the steps. I'd been doing everything that coaches told me to do, that successful people were doing. I was meditating daily, multiple times. I was reading. Back then, I think I read over 200 books just in 2020 alone. And prior to that, a couple hundred. But I mean, I was just enveloping myself in knowledge and the practices of what successful people were doing, going to seminars, you name it. But I found myself literally at the bottom and stuck in a hole at the beginning of 2020. In February is when it really all compiled and my world was crashing down around me. You see, I'd changed jobs earlier that year, in 2019, and I was doing door-to-door sales for solar for homeowners. And it was coming off winter, so it was cold, snowy. I couldn't be out doing anything selling, so money was pretty tight. And as far as how bad it was, my wife and I were literally down to our last $300 in our checking account, $300 to our name by the last week of February. And we had no way at that point of paying the bills. We had over $3,000 coming due that next week, just in rent and all the other bills. And we were freaking out. But luckily for my wife, she got to go to New York for her birthday and was out of town when all of this happened to me. But I'd gone out the previous day and was training for a triathlon. So I went out for a jog, and that morning, the first morning I'd started practicing again, and I stepped wrong and I blew my knee out and had to literally hop all the way home. I knew it was bad, but didn't know how bad it was. So I woke up that next morning, knee swollen like a grapefruit. I had to jump and hop all the way out to the couch where I laid down and was going to do my morning meditation. But I laid there for a minute, and it was right then that I just lost it. I broke down into tears and just bawling because I'd been doing everything right. I'd been doing all the things that they told me to do, yet I was still failing. I was still falling behind. And now we were at the end of our rope. No money, no way to move forward. I got pissed, to be honest, at that point. I gave up and I started yelling and cussing God because I was so angry that I'd been shown these practices and how to do them, yet why weren't they working for me? What was I doing wrong? And I yelled, I cussed, I just let loose in anger. And then eventually that anger turned back into tears, sobs. I kind of recollected myself and I decided, okay, I'm going to do a meditation. It was at that point, at that meditation, that everything changed for me. I'm getting goosebumps telling the story again. It was at that moment during the meditation, I was actually shown the future, and I was shown what was coming, not only in the near future, but in the distant future, out over a couple years or so, even longer. And what I saw was money was coming. I just didn't know how. And at that point, it showed me. And make a long story short, so we can get on to where I transformed, it showed me that there was nothing I had to fear, that everything had happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen and had put me there in that position. And once I finally released, once I finally let go and I gave it all over to God, to Spirit, He revealed everything that I couldn't see at the time. So needless to say, over the course of literally the next 2 months, we had over $100,000 in income come into our lives. from just unimaginable. Couldn't have scripted it out any better. But I had seen the vision of this happening. That's why I had no fear. I led at that point by just purely faith, knowing that I had seen what was to come. So the rest of the year played itself out in just unimaginable ways. I was manifesting and creating things almost in real time at that point. I could do a meditation in the morning, and 2 hours later, it literally was playing itself out. The same exact story that I was shown during my meditation, almost word for word, would happen in meetings, in my interactions with people. So I kind of freaky, but kind of cool at the same time. So where the big moment happened to me that I actually rewrote my DNA was in December of 2020. And that's when my wife and we attended a Tony Robbins event called Date with Destiny. I don't know how many of you guys have ever attended a Tony Robbins event. It's truly life-changing. But I went into this event with one goal in mind, and that goal was I wanted to figure out and uncover and heal whatever the hell pain, whatever it was that had been holding me back. Why did I feel so much anger? Why did I feel so hurt in my life? Why was I stuck? And throughout the process, early on, I figured out, well, first of all, where I had come from. I was abandoned at birth by my biological father. I was sexually abused as a child. I suffered from Tourette syndrome. I was an alcoholic. I abused drugs, gone through a divorce. I mean, those are just a few of the things that I had setbacks on and trauma in my past. So as this event went on, I learned real quickly, I think the first day, that all this pain, all this trauma had actually stemmed from this abandonment that my father had put upon me when he left. So what I did was I decided I was going to write a letter to him and forgive him for having left me and my mom. And it was just going to be symbolic. I was never going to send it to him, but I needed that cleansing for myself. So I began to write that letter, and I got one sentence out, and I just totally lost it again and started crying for 20 straight minutes. I sat there crying uncontrollably, and then all of a sudden, that sense of warmth, that sense of love just came over me, and I stopped. And I realized this wasn't my fault. I didn't have to blame him, and that my life was where I needed to be at that moment. So I released that pain, and what happened from that was even more unbelievable. Towards the end of the event, we did a group meditation, and we went back into our younger lives, and we tried to find that moment, that earliest childhood memory that caused pain, that caused trauma. And it involved my father, and it involved my mother and me. And through the course of this meditation, I was able to put myself into their eyes, into their body. I was able to see and feel what they felt at that moment. I got to feel their pain. I got to feel their fear. And it brought about a new sense of compassion within me that I never had had and I've never experienced for them or for anybody. And then I was able, once I realized that, I was able to forgive them and move forward, releasing that energy. So after I did all of this, after the meditation was over, I felt unbelievable. It's like, oh my God, this huge weight just got lifted off of my shoulders. So a couple days down the road is when the magic actually happened. It didn't happen instantly. It took a couple days to kind of percolate, as a lot of timeline shifts do. Now, I called my mom to talk to her about what I'd experienced and to apologize to her mostly and to tell her thank you. I told her how grateful I was for all that she'd done and for the person that she'd helped me become. And I told her that I forgave my father for leaving. I said, he no longer has any power over me. And it was at that moment that she broke down in tears and basically lost it. And she told me she revealed that she'd been hiding a secret from me my entire life. And that secret was that this guy that I thought was my dad all these years, for 40 years, that had been holding me back, he wasn't actually my father. She'd been hiding this the entire time from me. And come to find out that my real father, my biological DNA father, was not this drunk, womanizing piece of crap that I thought. It was actually a doctor at a hospital that my mom worked at. And she had done a medical procedure back in the late 70s called in vitro fertilization. And I was the product of that procedure, which at that moment, at that exact time, my entire world shifted. Everything changed because, like I said, no longer was I the son of this degenerate guy that I blamed everything on my life for. I was actually the son of a doctor. My children were the grandchildren of a doctor. And at that moment, our entire DNA, our entire genealogy, everything that I'd previously believed flipped upside down. And I was now the son of a doctor. And my life has never been the same ever since. It's given me such a new perspective, a new timeline, and a new reason for being, really, because of this moment. And that moment happened because of what I'm going to walk you through here now and show you exactly what I did. It took me a while to figure out how I did it, but once I figured out how I did it, now I can share that with all of you and share that with the world. So in order to dive into how this works, we got to kind of have a fundamental understanding of what the quantum is. Now, we can't just go jumping timelines if you don't understand it. At this point, you don't have to understand physics. It's much simpler than that. You have to look at the universe. You have to look at the quantum field as one big quantum soup. Picture the universe like a giant kitchen, and at its heart is this soup. That's the quantum field. And it's basically the possibility of everything all simmering together all at once, every version of you, every version of possibility, every choice, every reality. It's all in that pot of soup that's simmering together. It's just waiting to be scooped out. And that's the quantum field. That's the buzzing, endless mixture of everything that could possibly be. Now you have to understand the concept of superposition. And it's real simple when you look at flipping a coin. When you flip a coin in the air, as it's flipping and spinning, it's not heads nor tails. It's both at the exact same time, infinitely, until you stop it and you look at it and it becomes one or the other. It's either heads or tails. Same goes for rolling a dice. When it's rolling, you've got 6 possibilities it could be at any given moment in time, but until that dice stops on a number, it doesn't actually exist. And then the last part of the quantum that makes this all possible is the observer effect. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the thought experiment called Schrodinger's cat. Now that basically, simplicity-wise, think of a cat left inside of a box with a poison in that box. The box is closed. You can't see inside that box. But there's only 2 possible outcomes that can happen from to that cat. That cat can either ingest the poison and die, or it won't, and it'll be alive. So at that point, you've got 2 realities playing side by side. Only when you open the box and look to find the cat alive or dead does it become a reality. So that's the kind of the basic principles of quantum, is everything is happening all at once, everywhere, all these different options, We just have to focus in and hone in on the one reality, that one timeline that you want to see. And that's the timeline you're currently living. That's the timeline you're currently in. Doesn't mean you can't jump, but how do you jump? That's really the next portion here that we'll get into. And it's really about understanding timelines. And simply put, timelines are alternative paths or realities that are shaped by our choices. Like I said earlier, every decision you've ever made, big or small, has led you right to where you are right now. Now, the way I like to envision and picture the consciousness and timelines for you is for you to imagine a tree. Imagine a big, beautiful tree out in the woods. Now, the trunk of that tree, that is your starting point of this life, of this reality. That's your birth. That's your essence. From there, every choice you make branches off into a different timeline and a different reality that you are or could be living. That single tree, that's your realm of consciousness in this existence. But now, if you zoom out and realize you're within a giant forest of trees, that's the multiverse. That's the multiple dimensional reality that you could be living, all interconnected by the root system. But in this tree, on this branch, you are one version of yourself. Jump to the other side of the tree, jump to a different branch, you can become another version of yourself. Jump to a whole nother tree, which is a whole nother aspect of this, you become a different person, a different place, a different thing, but it's all interconnected. It's all vibrationally pulled together. We just don't quite understand how we move from branch to branch. And that, in essence, is what I'm going to talk about now. So if the branches of the, yeah, Liliana?
Can I just say, for the Chinese cards, for the ones who want to know more, we've got a video together that I put together. It's actually on YouTube or in the quantum group. So as an explanation in visuals, exactly what that means. If somebody's interested, just put it on a chat and then we take the names and I can send it through you to have a look.
All right, perfect. So if timelines are branches on the tree of consciousness, how do we jump them? Well, the key is your consciousness isn't stuck on one branch. It's the entire tree. It's constantly moving throughout your entire life. You're moving from one branch, one twig daily, minute by minute, just based on your thoughts and your actions. You've got to look at this branch. You got to look at the timeline just like a radio dial. You're tuning it up and down to find the specific frequency that you want to be on. A new branch is a new frequency, but what actually tunes up or down? What tunes that dial in? Anybody have any thoughts on what is in control of tuning that in? Type it in the chat there if you know, if you think you know what's in control of all of this. I'm not seeing anything come up, so I'll just move on here.
I just have to have those names again because they are.
Remember, we're making the list, Liliana, and also remember to mark meeting group chat so you can comment on the meeting group chat. That way everybody can see it. I opened it up.
Thank
there
you.
We go. The roots. Joseph said the roots. Creative thought, emotion, belief, feel what you want. Yes, exactly. The key here the key here to being able to tune in that dial is emotions. Emotions are the fuel that power the shift. It just depends on what kind of fuel you're putting in the tank. You know, if you're putting in fear, frustration, anger, hate, embarrassment, disgust, there's all kinds of negative fuel that we can be putting in. And that's what you're going to get. That's the timeline you're going to get stuck on. Now, if you want to, you can put in happiness. You can put in the emotions of love, forgiveness, gratitude, compassion. That's high octane fuel. That's what's going to lift you up. That's what's going to move you forward onto the branch that you want to be on. The question is whether you can jump or not. What emotions are you using to fuel your timeline? Now, that's where CFL Healing comes in and why I discovered how powerful this is. Now, the principles behind CFL Healing is unlocking those emotions, but the emotions that we're going to focus on are compassion, forgiveness, and love. Now, the first emotion is compassion. Compassion gives us the ability to help us release judgment and to open our connection to source. There's two types of compassion that we're dealing with here when we're practicing the CFL Healing. The first type is that compassion you have for others. Same as when I went through my DNA shift. I put myself into my father's eyes, my mother's eyes. I felt what they saw and felt. And that opened up a new sense of compassion that I'd never experienced before. So having that compassion for someone else is one of the two ways you can invoke this compassion. The other way, in the most important way, is having the compassion for yourself. We have to remember that we're on this journey to experience, to learn. Some of us were put here for certain things, others were put here for other things. But at the end of the day, we're all put here to experience this life, to grow and evolve. And we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to screw up. We're all going to get stuck. We have to get out of that place of blaming ourselves, of being angry at ourselves, and we have to have compassion for ourselves, compassion for who we are, and compassion for why we're here. It's going to connect you to source, and it's going to prepare you to shift, because compassion heals. It releases judgment, and it allows that weight off of your shoulders. Where you once were vibrating low, you can now vibrate higher. The next concept, the next aspect of CFL is forgiveness. Forgiveness is going to heal the past wounds, and it's going to free you from that stuck energy that you're feeling. And for me, forgiveness was probably the hardest of the three for me to overcome, because I had so many deep wounds. I had so much perceived pain and trauma that it was hard for me to forgive. It's still a work in progress with some people and some things. But it's all about healing the wounds that we have in our past, the things we did or the things that were done to us. Forgiveness is going to relieve that weight that's holding us back, that's keeping us tethered to the branch you don't want to be on. But also keep in mind, forgiveness isn't about excusing the past. It's about letting go of the past. You have to learn to forgive others, but in the end, you have to forgive yourself the most. And then once this is done, the energy is now free to move you somewhere new to the new timeline, now that you clear that path. So the last and final frequency and component of CFL is love, which is the most important of all. It's the highest vibration, the ultimate signal to the quantum field that we've been exploring today. Compassion sees you kindly. Forgiveness frees your energy. But love is the master key that connects you to source, to God, and to the universe. Love allows us to align to what could be. Love is creation, and it's what keeps us moving forward each and every day with the hope that there can be a better tomorrow. And now love isn't just a feeling, but a frequency, and it aligns you with your highest self, your highest potential, and it activates new branches on your tree. So again, it's not just about romantic love. It's about the deep, radiant kind of love that you have for yourself and for life in general. When you feel it, you feel it. You're not just imagining a new timeline, you're stepping into it. So compassion opens the door, forgiveness clears the way, and love lights up the path. So that's basically CFL Healing in a nutshell. I designed it to open up and allow for the frequency of love to envelop you. And at the base frequency, and that's the base frequency we need when we attempt to do these timeline shifts. So that brings me to the end of the teaching section here. And I want you all to join in with me now. We're going to do a 9-minute meditation to wrap up. And I created this meditation. It's called Finding the Frequency of Love. And this is the frequency I recommend you start your day with every day, whether it's this meditation or a different meditation. You can do it however you'd like to do it. But the whole purpose here is to open up that love receptor so that you can bring in and create the reality you would like to create. So everybody find a comfortable place and we'll go ahead and start the meditation. And just an FYI, I did this meditation earlier this morning just to put myself in the frequency of love. And I had a whole new visualization and I burst out into tears again this morning. So hope you guys have a similar reaction. But here we go. This meditation is designed to tune your personal frequency to the vibration of love. So find a comfortable position, preferably seated, with your hands down, comfortably at your side. Close your eyes and let's begin. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel your feet connected firmly to the earth beneath you. Imagine a warm, golden energy rising up from the ground, entering through the soles of your feet. Feel it as it flows gently up your legs, through your knees, your thighs, into your root chakra at the base of your spine. Feel it as it swells and pulses a dark red color. This energy begins to climb higher now through your sacral chakra, vibrating and humming in a brilliant orange hue. The energy flows higher into your solar plexus, swirling around in an orbital pattern, emanating a bright yellow light from its center. And lastly, allow this energy to now move to its final location, safely within your heart. Pause here and feel this energy as it pools throughout your heart, warm, fluid, and grounding. You are rooted, you are safe, and you are held by the earth and spirit. Now we'll awaken the energy with breath. Begin with short, quick breaths, inhaling deeply through your nose, exhaling fast through your mouth, like this. We'll do 20 of these breaths. Then on the last one, we will inhale deeply and exhale fully, doing a 30-second breath hold. Follow along with me. Let's go. Starting now. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Continue on and go with the flow of your breath. In, out. In, out. it go. One more. Now take a deep breath in and exhale fully, holding for a 30-second breath hold. Okay, be in this moment and let the body do what the body is capable of doing. Halfway there, keep going. Okay, recovery breath in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale deeply. Hold for 15 seconds. Exhale. Amazing job, everyone. Can you feel your body tingling, alive, and buzzing with energy? This is your frequency rising. Now, place your hands gently over your heart and take a slow, deep breath in. As you exhale, let your shoulders soften. Now bring your mind to a vivid thought, a thought of the happiest moment of your life, a time when you felt pure joy and pure love. Find it. See it. Where were you? What were you doing? Who were you with? Was it the birth of a child? The day you were married? What was the moment of absolute love for you? See it clearly now. See the colors, the faces, the warmth. Feel that happiness as it blossoms and expands outwards from your heart in a bright, brilliant, radiant light. Let it grow, filling your chest, your arms, and your entire body. This is the frequency of love, and it's pulsing, alive, flowing in and out of you. Love is all there is. Love is your connection to God, to Source, to the infinite branches of your tree. Let this feeling envelop you in its glow. Feel your body vibrating and pulsing outward, beyond your body, into the room, and out into the universe. You are this love. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Now stay here in this moment for a while, basking in this frequency of pure happiness, joy, and love. This is your truest form. This is your new state of being. Take this feeling with you all day today and use it to create the reality and the timeline of your choosing. This is the frequency of love. Now, slowly bring your awareness back to this present moment. Feel your hands on your heart, the rise and the fall of your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes, grounding yourself back into this moment. Welcome back. When you're ready, open your eyes and carry this frequency of love with you. You are now back fully present and aligned with your highest self. All righty. How was that?
The sound was not great.
That's what I saw in some of the chats there. I don't know if it's my connection or what, but I shared the link to that video in the chat group here. And if you want to do that on your own after we're done here, by all means, feel free to use that. You can't find it on my Reality Practice channel. You can only find it with that direct link. It's made just for this presentation here. So save that link, copy it, whatever you'd like, and use that as often as you'd like to set yourself up for feeling that sense of love, that frequency. For those that were able to hear it good, how'd it go? Did you raise your hand? Did you guys feel it? I saw some tears forming out there and some of you guys. But at the end of the day, it goes back to love. That's that starting point for the quantum, and it's going to take us wherever we want to go. We just have to harness it and find it before we start that journey and before we start trying to shift timelines. So as we close out here for the general admission session, I wanted to thank you all for joining and listening to my portion of the presentation today. I hope you have a new perspective on your consciousness, on the consciousness tree, and how every branch has the ability for you to jump from branch to branch using that CFL method, the compassion, forgiveness, and love. At this time, I'm going to invite you to take this further. Make sure you follow me at YouTube at the Reality Practice Network.